Hey everyone, welcome back to From Dark Universe Season 2, Episode 7, or From Dark Universe Episode 12. Right? Okay, so I have a bunch of important announcements about the podcast. So, one is that this podcast won't be on Spotify anymore. I've decided because on Spotify it's now getting a lot of traction compared to YouTube. So I decided to just stick with YouTube, and then if it gets more popular on YouTube, I can start re-uploading every episode which I missed out on Spotify. Um, and then the next thing is that if you see on YouTube, right, the titles are episode 11, episode 10, and you might be confused, right? Because it is a little confusing. But the reason why I labeled them as not different seasons but as podcast it's because I thought it'd be more uniform, that it'll be a little more easier. They are still different seasons, right? Episode 6 and episode 5 are different seasons. Like episode 6 is part of season 2, and episode 5 is part of season 1. The Daredevil episode, right? So the Daredevil episode is part of season 1. The Teen Titans one is from season 2. But I just labeled them as one podcast because I didn't want to make it too confusing. But they are still going with different seasons. Season three, I'd say, is gonna come out, and now it's not gonna come out right now. I'm still working on it. But yeah, those were the announcements, and yeah, I mean, like, well, what are we waiting for? Let's get to the intro. So the Batman in the DCU is one of the most discussed topics for the DCU, right? Like obviously other than the Salvation one, right? Batman is one of those characters, just like Superman, where you have to get it right. You have to get the character right, otherwise people are not gonna like it, right? So I feel like there's some pressure on James Gunn right now, or whoever's directing. Like obviously James Gunn is the director of Brave and the Bold, right? Because, I mean, like Superman, he has had multiple adaptations, but most of them have been like different, different compared. I mean, same but different. But the thing with Batman is it's basically been almost the same for nearly 2 decades, right? You have Grounded, or well, I mean, the fantastical side was barely touched in Batman's side, except I'd say the Arkham games, right? So I feel because I feel like people are so used to seeing a street level ground, not street level, a grounded Batman, right? Like that could be a problem which James Gunn is facing. I mean, it's such a drastic change, right? Like we're going to see Robert Pattinson's Batman, who is still going to be grounded, right? He's not going to go fantastical. He's not going to join DCU, unfortunately. And then at the same time, we have this Batman who is fantastical and everything. So that could be a problem where it could be like a huge shift for the audience, right? Um, but if they are doing the fantastical Batman side, which I hope do, because I feel like if you get the right writers, if you get the right people to work on this on Brave and the Bold, it could be one of the best Batman films. Not just because it has good people, right? Like good people working on a project, but actually making a good Batman project, which is fantastical, which is campy, but also serious at the same time, right? Like I feel like Batman Forever and Batman Robin could have been great, right? They could have been great, but it's just that they took, I mean, Batman Robin, they took the fantastical campy side too far, Like they had all these cool elements, but it just that it was the movie was it didn't feel like Batman, It felt like Funny Man and Funny Robin. And Batman Forever, it had the right fantastical side of it, but it also didn't feel quite right. So I feel like imagine like Matt Reeves' Batman movies, right? Instead of them being grounded, they could be fantastical. Imagine, right? that could be such a great film. So, um, first off, how I want the Batman to be in DCU is obviously fantastical, right? Because there's so many characters, so many villains, so many not just villains, characters also of Batman who are fantastical, but have never been adapted into live action, right? Animation, sure, it's animation, right? Like they be campy, they don't have to be realistic, right? But in movies, they've always been grounded mostly or realistic. So I feel like what they should do is you know focus on the sillier side of Batman comics, right? Like Batman comics are not just Joker, Bane, Two Face, Scarecrow, Catwoman, right? There's many villains to Batman, right? Some have been adapted, some fantastical villains have been adapted into live action, but they've been toned down to be realistic, like Ra's al Ghul, right? So I feel they should take this movie as a chance to explore his rogues gallery because Batman's rogues gallery is one of the best and one of the biggest there is in comics as a whole, right? Because my dude has so many villains, right? Like, and there are so many iconic villains, but we've seen the iconic villains adapted continuously in live action. It gets repetitive, right? Like we've seen Joker so many times in live action, it's kind of getting boring at this point because it feels like they can't make a Batman movie without the Joker. Thank God the Matt Reeves movies did that. But there's so many, like I said, so many villains, so many characters of Batman which have been untapped, like Azaz, right? Is that how you say it? Azaz, right? Oh wait, Victor Zaz, my bad, Victor Zaz, right? And then we have Kite Man, we have Killer Moth. We have all these characters. They're silly, obviously, but if you get the right people to work on it, they can be silly and serious at the same time, right? Like Galactus, the dude, the dude's costume is so silly to look at, but in the movie he was done really well, where he was taken seriously, but not just the characters in the movie, but by the audience as well because of how well written he was, right? Like obviously the characters didn't make fun of how he looks because they knew how how much is at stake because of that one purple head dude, right? And obviously, well, for me, like while watching a movie, I didn't think, oh, they're scared of purple dude. They're scared of a giant purple dude. No, I was genuinely scared for them, right? Because they proved why Galactus is such a threat. So I feel like they should do it with the characters. Um, but like also like basically embraced comics. What the main thing I love about Superman is that it embraced the comics like no other movie has done so far, except animation. Obviously animation is different, but I'm talking about live action. It like the world in Superman felt so comic booky, and that's good, right? It felt very silly. It felt also realistic and silly, but more onto the silly aspect. And that's why, like, that's one thing I love about DC. That's one of the things I love about DC Comics. Compared to Marvel, they create these fictional cities, right? Most of them. I mean, Marvel does have some fictional places, but DC is more well known for these fictional places, right? So, like these cities, right? They make you feel that you're not in the real world, right? Like Gotham, we have not. There is no place on Earth which is like Gotham in real life, right? But when you do see it in not just in every Batman movie, you feel some sort of comic bookness, right? Even though they might be realistic, you feel like, oh my god, this feels like a comic book because these kind of places would never exist. But that's good, right? So it gives the audience a new feeling rather than just doing in New York City and Jersey, let's say, right? I'm not like saying it's bad to do it, but like DC should really take advantage of the unique and new places they created for the comics, right? So yeah, I want the world to to feel comic booky, and I want each unique place in DC in the DCU to feel different from each other. Like You're not gonna see I don't know, like a bright sunny day in Gotham, right? Because it's so tonally different and so visually different, right? So I want that's the second thing I want is to make Gotham stand out from Metropolis. Because Gotham, even though it's been done so many times in live action, I still feel like it has the potential to be done in a new way, but while still keeping the realistic tone of it, right? Like maybe you can have a little more references to the entire DCU in this Gotham, because in the previous Batman projects, I mean, Gotham has I don't think I've ever seen a Gotham except the Snyderverse where it's like in the connected universe. So it's like a bunch of references to other characters, right? So I feel like just like Metropolis, right? I think it had a bunch of other references. Um, and so far, what we're seeing, like from the Clayface set photos, right? I'm not gonna spoil anything. I mean, there nothing has been spoiled so far, but we have gotten few looks at how Gotham will be, right? It's looking really, really good so far because they're like I said, they are including references to other characters in the DCU or the DCU as a whole, like the whole universe, right? And I love that. I want Gotham to not just feel like a realistic city where it's like crime. I know. I want this to be. I want it to feel like it's part of DCU, but also have its own visual, have its own tone, have its own style. Third thing I want from the Batman in DCU is an a colorful costume. Now wait, hold on. When I mean by colorful, I think they can try pulling off the gray and blue suit without making it look like it's a rollerblade suit. Look at you, Flash. Um, because I feel like the gray and blue suit. I don't know why. Like obviously, it's very hard to bring that kind of color scheme into real life and make it look good, right? But I feel like they should take inspiration from Batman #1, which is happening right now, because that suit is really really good, right? It's a perfect modern adaptation of Batman, right? And I want like I said, I want this Batman to completely feel different from every other Batman which we had, because like it'll be a fresh take, right? Because we've seen so many grounded takes in Batman, we've never seen a proper fantastical one, right? So I feel like seeing these costume changes, maybe you can say like in the comics, he got inspired by Superman to make his costume brighter, or you can just say it's because whenever he saves a kid or someone, the kid get like kids get scared of Batman because of how he looks, like the costume, right? So you can say, oh, I changed my costume because I don't want to be something to scare the civilians innocence about. I want to scare the villains but not the innocents, right? And obviously it's not like if you wear this colorful gray and blue costume, it's not going to be taken seriously by villains. That's the thing, if you have the right people working on it, you can make Batman look that silly. I have silly gadgets like the giant coin, or a bat T-Rex, a robot bat T-Rex. But I'm just throwing ideas, right? But if you can, if you find really good writers who can make him serious, who can still make him feel serious, still scare him to the villains, sometimes even scaring us a little bit, of how dark and how strong he is, right? So I feel like that is one thing, because you like one thing that focus on. And fourth thing is, I don't want Damian Wayne to be appearing in the first movie itself. Now hear me out, alright? When they first announced that this was gonna be a Batman and Damian Wayne story, I was not happy. I'm be honest, I didn't enjoy hearing that, because we're missing out on so many years of Batman where we didn't even get to see we won't even get to see Nightwing before he became Nightwing. We can't see Dick Grayson as Robin, Jason Todd as Robin before he became Red Hood, uh well, Tim Drake before I guess he became Red Robin, right? and we're missing out so much history, right? So I feel like you shouldn't start this Batman off in year one because I feel like that's been done way too many times. Take the Superman's side, the Superman thing, and start him off in, let's say, like year five, or like make him already experienced in this field, but he's still going to experience new things, like how Superman had to experience the pocket universe, the black hole, the pocket dimensions, right? So like have that, right? Like I maybe this can give us a chance to not use Joker, Two-Face. I would love to see Scarecrow. I'll be honest, like Scarecrow is really, really scary and really, really cool, right? And Andy Muschietti, I know many people don't like him after Flash. I'm myself am skeptical, but the guy is a horror director, right? So imagine a horror director who is directing the a Batman movie and a villain Scarecrow. I mean that's peak right there, right? But I do feel like this time Andy Muschietti has to take help from James Gunn rather than just doing the whole thing because I feel like after Flash he was given the whole creative control thing to him, right? I think. So I feel like James Gunn should be there to advise, okay, this is not right, this is not good, you should do this, you should do that. Then I feel like that could work and we could get a really, really good Batman movie, right? I like the Robin I want to start off this Batman with. Hmm, I want to say Jason Todd, but also like, I don't know. I mean, I want to start off with like Dick Grayson, but I feel like that's way too early. Wait, uh, oh wait, no, no, no. In the comics, Dick did become Robin in Batman's fifth year, right? Ooh, that actually could work. I mean, I don't know, cause one thing is I want to start off with Dick Grayson, cause there's always it's a classic story. But also the other problem is that it's a classic story. Everyone knows the story, right? Even with Jason Todd, they know the story of how, he gets kidnapped by Joker, gets tortured to literally death, and then, oh well, no, that's how I can mean. But like he gets kidnapped by Joker, he fake dies, and then he comes back as Red Hood. It's kind of a classic story, right? So I feel like maybe you start off this year. I mean, Batman should be more experienced than Superman, right? Obviously, he should be a little more ahead in years, like in how many years he's been active as a superhero, as a vigilante, right? Um, Honestly, I choose either Dick Grayson or Tim Drake. Red Hood, I feel like, um, hmm, I feel like I feel like the Red Hood story everyone knows. And plus, it would be really cool to see him in live action rather than just doing him as like Robin, then recapping the whole story thing. Because I feel like we barely get anything about Tim Drake in this decade. So I feel like it would be cool to use Tim Drake as the main Robin, and then you can say, oh, uh, you know, um, Robin became Nightwing, Dick Grayson became Nightwing, Jason Todd became Red Hood. I'm so conflicted about this. Like it's you're missing. I'm like you're gonna. This is gonna cause what? Like Oh no, Tim Batman gets Tim Drake Ways. Oh my God, year 20. No, no, no. I feel like it should be Dick Grayson because that's the best option he has. And honestly, I think we need a proper Dick Grayson movie with Batman, like a proper Robin adaptation. But wait, I'd say Tim Drake. I'd say Tim Drake, right? Maybe you can make this Batman like in what his year, uh, but like maybe 10 years, right? I think that's fair because I mean, Batman should have more experience than Superman or anyone in Justice League. That's why he is so god tier character, right? He has more experience than any superhero on the Justice League. So it's like, I mean, except Diana, of course. She's like she's literally more than 100 years old, right? So it's like obviously more, I think even 1,000 years old. Yeah, I think so. Right, so obviously you can't beat an experience, but like he's been active for so long, he understands all superheroes. He, researches about them. He's so prepared, right? So I feel like Tim Drake could be a nice starter instead of directly going Damian Wayne, because Damian Wayne is he's such a his backstory is such a complicated one, right? I mean, to start off, to for Batman's first movie to have all this Ra's al Ghul, the Al Ghul, the Lego Assassin storyline, it's way too much. So I feel like starting off with Tim Drake is nice because again, there's no complicated history, right? You can also have an established Nightwing because you never seen that in live action except Titans, but I'm talking about movies, right? Even with her, right? Like maybe we can have a prequel anthology series, right? Where we see Dick Grayson as Robin, and then we see Jason Todd as Robin, and then we see why they become Nightwing and why they become Nightwing and Red Hood, right? So Tim Drake is the perfect choice, and plus he's not. I don't think he's been done in live action before, right? So I think it'll be a nice chance for him to really make his you know debut as a proper Robin, right? Because I mean he's been kind of neglected for the past decade in comics, right? So I feel like this is perfect chance. Um, the other thing is I feel like you should save famous characters like Joker, Two-Face, and all probably late for later movies. I don't want them to be the villains in the first movie. I want to be someone silly, like well, silly but serious, like maybe you can say Killer Moth. No, maybe Victor Zsasz, right? I mean, he's never been done in live action, I think. I think he's been done in the Arkham games, I'm not sure. But Victor Zsasz could be a good option for a starting Batman villain, right? Because I mean, like, I'm not sure what year Batman and Ollie fought him in, or maybe even Mr. Freeze, right? I mean, like, he has now probably been done live action, right? I feel like this is a perfect chance to show his really emotional side, right? And I think starting off, actually, you know what? I think Mr. Freeze is a better option because starting off his Batman's first real appearance in DCU, with him probably like, at the end of the movie, you know, turning Freeze into an anti-hero, I think that it could be great, because Freeze in recent comics, I mean, I think in recent comics, right, he has always been a sympathetic character, right? He was never really a villain, right? He was just trying to save his wife. So I feel like trying to explore that, showing how Batman really is a great hero, just like Superman, who he doesn't want to, kill his villains, he wants to try and change them, even though he knows some people like Joker and Two-Face can be changed, but like he wants to try changing people, right? And obviously go full vengeance on them, like still. So I think that's a perfect opportunity to showcase Batman as a character in his first appearance, right? Build a character for him. I mean, well, this only if Mr. Freeze does not appear in Batman Part 2. I think it'd be Hush in Batman Part 2. I think Hush makes the most sense for a grounded Batman. And wow, these two Batmans at once. It's gonna be crazy. I kind of wish Robert Pattinson was integrated into the DCU, but they made a decision, so I can't do anything about it. So yeah, wow, okay, yeah, that's basically what the four points I want from the Batman in the DCU. I didn't want to get too complicated with details what I want because I'm not expecting a lot except that he should be fantastical, right? So I'm really excited. I really hope, okay, I'm still kind of skeptical, but I really hope Andy Muschietti delivers because I don't want another Flash situation. So James Gunn or anyone, please, like, please be right there next to Andy Muschietti, right? Like, check the script, make sure this is all going well, you know, if this is actually Batman, like, because the Flash was really a disappointment, right? And Andy Muschietti, like, he really needs to learn that if you make a bad movie, it's not our fault that we didn't go. Like, it's your fault, but it's fine. I believe in second chances, right? So please, please, Mr. Andy Muschietti, please, I'm really trusting you with the Batman character, right? Um, so yeah, I think it's time for Mortal Kombat. Dun, 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 dun. That was a theme song. If you guys know, okay, just come on. Let's move on to the next topic. All right, so I know Mortal Kombat 1 came out like what 2 years ago, but I just got the chance to actually play it and finish the campaign. And this is my overall thoughts on the game as a whole, not just campaign, like the combat. If you see what I did there, the mechanics and all, right? So starting off with the campaign, man, that it could have been a really, really good campaign, like really, really good, if we didn't have the whole multiverse, different timelines thing. Okay, so let me give the base premises of the campaign, right? So a person, we don't know who until the end of the story, is okay. Liu Kang, right? He's the god of fire, right? So he in the past was the keeper of time. So what he did was he used that opportunity as keeper of time to rewrite history where the villains actually never rose in power, right? So it's like Shang Tsung or Quan Chi, right? They never got their powers. They were never they like he rewrote history where they don't get their powers. They don't become villains, right? But then someone from the previous timeline where Shang Tsung and Quan Chi were villains, they somehow escape that timeline change, right? So they're like basically a person from a different timeline from the previous timeline. So that person comes, gives Shang Tsung, Quan Chi, and others like their opportunities to become the villains they were in the previous timeline. So it gives them like the sorcerer skills, more knowledge, anything they want, anything they need to become the villain they were in the previous timeline. So Liu Kang, so this not this is the main problem, but next is where Liu Kang is assembling five warriors to fight in the I think it's called the Mortal Kombat tournament, right? So I think so. They're gonna have to find a tournament against the Outworld, right? Outworlders. So Earthrealmers are humans like us who are from Earth. Outworlders are like in a different realm, right? So Earthrealmers versus Outrealmers. So he finds Raiden, Kung Lao, Johnny Cage, who was the other one? The Kenshi, right? So he finds these guys, right? By putting them through a skill of tests, right? To fight against you people like Sub-Zero and Scorpion, right? So they find a tournament, but then Liu Kang, right? He realizes that someone from a previous timeline, with the help of Gears, right? With the help of Gears, he realizes that, you know, there's someone messing with time. So he basically, towards the end, it's revealed to be Shang Tsung from the previous timeline. So Shang Tsung helped here the new timeline, Shang Tsung and Quan Chi and more people to get their powers, right? So it's again, I thought it's very complicated. It could be a simple story where you can reveal it. You can probably reveal it to be like what a future version, or not include the multiverse thing, because what this story does is that it turns from a self-contained story to like this huge multiverse battle by the end of the game. And it's a drastic change because obviously they mentioned it's a previous timeline. Fine, I was fine with that. But then you have multiple timelines, right? Like timelines doesn't essentially mean the multiverse, right? And they just made the whole thing about the multiverse. But like I'd say the first no, Act 3, from Act 1 to Act 3, I'd say was really, really good. I had a lot of fun with the story. All the characters are great. My favorite is Raiden. John Cage does get a little annoying at sometimes, but it's fine. Like, I mean, that's his character, right? He's funny, but he also gets a little annoying. Um, but like, I'll tell you the main problems. Start with the problems, and then go. Well, I'll finish with positives. I'd say the voice acting was pretty good. It was on point. The visuals were okay, but I didn't download the 4K version of the game. I just downloaded the normal version. Um, S- So, and in the fighting, yeah, I'm fighting. This is my first ever Mortal Kombat game I'm playing, so I feel like this fighting it was hard to get used to at first, but then as I kept on playing the game, it was really fun, right? It was very smooth. Felt a little slow at times, but then stopped me from winning the game, right? Now let's get into negatives. Again, the multiverse thing, right? So chapter 14 and chapter 15 are my least favorite chapters in this entire game. Because these two chapters feel like there was a whole different story of a game, before these chapters, but then they cut it and just put it with the normal game. Like it felt like these two chapters should have been part of like a DLC or something. Because chapter 14 is like very weird, right? Because it's the only time we get to play as Liu Kang, right? And chapter 15 is even weirder because you build these characters, right? Like Raiden, Kung Lao, Kenshi, Giant Cage, right? You build all these characters throughout the story, and obviously it's cool that you get the option to choose your fighter, but honestly, I would prefer if it was one of these five, right? Because you can choose between the entire roster, right? Because it was like this huge multiverse battle between Liu Kang and the good variants, and then we have Titan Shang Tsung versus the bad variants. So they're clashing with each other. It's very weird, right? Because these characters are not even there. Like I chose Smoke. I love you. Like I like he should have been more in the game, but my guy he wasn't even there in most of the story, and I feel like the ending was very again. It felt like a different ending. It felt like oh, chapter 13 was the ending, and chapter 14, 15 are like a DLC or something. That's how I felt. Because it's a huge tonal shift, right? Um, but otherwise, I really enjoyed the game. Like those two chapters really brought down the game's rating from 9 out of 10 to a 7.8. Because it's just whenever I think of Mortal Kombat 1, I can't stop thinking about the multiverse thing because it played such a huge role at the end that the main story felt useless, like it felt like it wasn't even needed. Like you had really good storytelling, right? Really good characters, and then you just wasted it and then used the multiverse to finish the game. I felt like I was kind of lazy, right? And I hear some people saying, oh, the game was unfinished and this hurried up and released the game. It does feel like that sometimes, but I'd say they only rushed the game towards the ending, right? Like, was maybe they had a deadline and probably didn't figure out the last two chapters, so they just decide to, you know, go with the multiverse, right? Because at that time, everyone was using the multiverse, even everyone, right? Like, there was no original storytelling anymore in that era, but I hope that I'm not hating on the game. I'm telling you, I had a lot of fun playing it, but it just I feel like Mortal Kombat isn't about the multiverse, right? Of course, you can have different characters, but maybe don't try telling two stories at once, because it's very off-putting, you know? Maybe the multiverse thing could have been a DLC, and the main game could have finished differently with chapter 14 and 15, you know? So, I mean, that's what I feel. I mean, just fix the ending. That's all. So, I hope if there's a Mortal Kombat 2 coming, the new one, I hope if there is a Mortal Kombat 2 game coming, please take your time with it. Right? We're not gonna rush you. We just want a good Mortal Kombat game. And from Act 1 to Act 3 was really good, but Act 4 is really it's really not that good. Act 4 is the issue. So think of like what I would do is that I would first lay down the beginning, the middle, and the end, right? And then once I have these, I can focus on writing between what is going to be in between these points, right? Like what's going to be happening between the beginning and middle, what's going to be happening in the middle to the end. So like that, right? So I'd say just take your time, don't rush the game. But overall, I had a lot of fun with the game, right? It was really, since it's my first time playing a Mortal Kombat game, really fun. I'd recommend you buy it. And I like, even though the ending's really bad, I know I'm saying a lot, still play. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. The cameo system's really good. The combat, really fun for beginners, right? Like me. So, yeah, yeah, that's gonna be my review. I'd say it's a 7.8 out of a 10 game, right? But hey, that's not stopping me from enjoying the fighting systems, right? And the first three acts of the story. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today's episode, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm sorry I didn't upload for like a month because, I had some technical issues with my laptop, so I couldn't edit anything. But I'm back. So yeah, I will see you guys. I will see you guys in the next one.